Probably should stop saying so. Sorry, I'm late. Genesis 45. Then Joseph could not restrain himself before all those who stood by him, and he cried out, "Make everyone go out from me." So no one stood with him while Joseph made himself known to his brothers. When Joseph could no longer control himself before all his attendants, and he cried out, "Have everyone leave my presence." So there was no one with Joseph when he made himself known to his brothers. Now Joseph could not bear all those standing beside him, and he called out, "Take everyone away from me." So no one stood with him when Joseph made himself known to his brothers. ולא יכול יוסף להתאפק לכל הניצבים עליו, ויקרא הוציאו כל איש מעלי, ולא עמד איש איתו, בהתוודע יוסף אל אחיו. Okay. So, יכול, written bechisaron without the vav, if you're paying attention to that, but otherwise it's pretty normal could. Lehit apek. So this is actually in the reflexive, and it's not a root I am very familiar with. To hold, be strong. It is used 7 times in the Bible. A primitive root to contain, abstain, force, restrain. Compare Arabic, excel. Okay. I guess this is the second time it's used in the Bible. It was also used in 43. Genesis 43. Okay. Lechol hanitzavim, all, to all, before all, hanitzavim, those who are standing. So a matzeva is like a signpost. Le'olam davarcha nitzav v'shamayim. Forever, Lord, your words are standing, nitzavim b'shamayim, in the heavens. Alav, by him, for him, serving him. I mean, alav, nitzavim alav. Yeah. Vayikra, and he cried out. He didn't just say, he cried out. Hotziu hol ish ma'alai. So hotzi is the causative of yetza, to leave, to go out. Hotziu. So, and it's in the command form. All y'all. Make go out. Kol ish ma'alai, all people from with me. Velo amad ish ito, and no man stood. Omed la'amod is to stand. Ito, this is the preposition, not the direct object marker. That would be oto. Behit vada, and this is in the reflexive. And yeah, I guess the root might be yada. Yud, Dalid, Ayin. Um, Vav and Yud sometimes do get especially in the Hitpa'el form. So to make yourself known. Um, Vidui, which is to confess, does not have a ayin in it, and I would personally be not a huge fan of saying that this is the same root as vidui, although I am sure there are people who could and would argue with me. I don't think you can just remove um, a strong root. Well, I mean, it is a guttural. You can make arguments. Um, you can make arguments, but and the fact is, it at least sounds like confess. So it is reminiscent of it. Yosef el Achav, to his brothers. And that's the proposition with the Aleph. Uh, Vayiten. Oh, should read the English. And he wept aloud, and the Egyptians and the house of Pharaoh heard it. And he wept so loudly that the Egyptians heard him, and Pharaoh's household heard about it. And he wept out loud. Sorry about the ambulance going by. So the Egyptians heard, and the house of Pharaoh heard. Yeah, I'm not gonna do the Rashis. Vayiten et kolo bivchi, vayishma'u Mitzrayim, vayishma beit paro. So, this is actually a interesting way of saying he cried out. And it says, and he gave, literally gave or set his voice. And kol is written bechisaron, if you're paying attention to that. Bivchi, in crying, in weeping. Vayishma'u Mitzrayim, and Egypt in plural heard, so the people of Egypt heard. Obviously, Mitzrayim itself is singular. Vayishma Beit Paro, and heard the house of Pharaoh. And it could be, I mean, you could interpret it that it wasn't necessarily so loud that they all heard it, but it was loud enough that people heard about it. You could even say that, Egypt heard about it because the house of Pharaoh heard him crying. Verse 3. Then Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph. Does my father still live? But his brothers could not answer him, for they were dismayed in his presence. And these are famous words in the Hebrew. Od Avinu Chai, Ha'od Avinu Chai, is our father still alive? Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph, is my father still living? But his brothers were not able to answer him because they were terrified at his presence. And Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph, is my father still alive? But his brothers could not answer him because they were startled by his presence. ויאמר יוסף אל אחיו, אני יוסף העוד אבי חי, ולא יכלו אחיו לענות אותו, כי נבהלו מפניו. So Joseph says to his brothers with an aleph, Ani Yosef, and the present tense of the verb to be is implied there. Ha'od avi chai. I guess the songs are always Avinu Chai, but he says Avi Chai, my father. And the hey at the beginning of that is the interrogative particle. So it turns it into a question. So Od Avichai, still or more so, Od is really more. Yeah, still. Avichai, my father alive. Velo yachlu echav la'anot oto, and again it's Yachol. His brothers la'anot. So ayin nun hey is to answer. So to answer him. Oto. Ki nivhalu mipanav, because nivhalu, this is the nifal, it's the passive tense of bet he lamed, which is bahala, is confusion, I guess, disturb, terrify. Nifhalu is also used Exodus 15. It's not giving a thing to bahala. Late Hebrew, participle bahol, disquieted, bahul, sorry. Bahil, hasten. I'm pretty sure there's the verb bahala is not just a primitive root to tremble inwardly. I don't think it is just a modern Hebrew term, but let me see. Baha, oops. La. Yeah, Bahala, Leviticus 18, Psalms 78:33, Jeremiah 15:8, and Isaiah 65:23. Let's take a look. Leviticus 26:16. 6. Behala, there we go. So that's root 98. Sudden terror or ruin, dismay. From Bahal, to disturb, terrify. So they had it the other way around, but they see, like, just link it both ways. What's wrong with you? Anyway, so if you're interested, there it is. Okay. Nivhalu, they were Bahal, right? Mipanav, from before him, literally from his face. Hey, computer. How are you? Um, I have a question. Is there an afterlife in Judaism? Yes, there is. If I remember correctly, you were one of the people in one of the streams that I was paying attention to, and you are Jewish and um, converted to Islam. If that am I remembering correctly? Um, Yes, belief in the afterlife, well, belief in that God will mete out punishment and reward is one of the 13 principles of Jewish faith, and belief in Tchiat Hametim, the resurrection of the dead, is another. Maimonides' 13 principles of Jewish faith. Okay. Um, where were we? Uh, I lost my place. Let me find my place again. Where was I? And Joseph said to his brothers, "Please come near to me." So they came near. Then he said, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt." Then Joseph said to his brothers, "Come close to me." When they had done so, he said, "I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt." Uh, then Joseph said to his brothers, "Please come close to me." And they drew closer, and he said, "I am your brother Joseph, whom you sold into Egypt." Vayomer Yosef el Echav, Geshu na Elai, Vayigashu, Vayomer, Ani Yosef Achichem, Asher Mechartem, Oti Mitzrayma. So he said to his brothers, Geshu, this is in the it's in the command form of Yagash. To reach is usually how I explain it. Um, yeah, come near is fine. Na, I usually translate as please. Um, might make sense here to translate it as now. It is an interjection. Eli, to me, right? Uh, with the Aleph. Vayigashu, so, and they came close. Vayomer, Ani Yosef Achichem, I am the brother of all y'all, and the pronoun kind of substitutes for the present tense of the verb to be. Asher mechartem oti, that you sold me. Limkor is to sell. Mem chaf resh. And this is oti, the direct object marker, as opposed to et, which would be the preposition. Mitzrayma, and the hey at the end there is the directional hey. So into Egypt, towards Egypt. Okay. Verse 5. Uh, But now do not therefore be grieved or angry with yourselves, because you sold me here, for God sent me before you to preserve life. And now do not be distressed, and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. But now do not be sad, and let it not trouble you that you sold me here. for it was to preserve life that God sent me before you. Ve'ata al te'atzvu ve'al yichar be'enechem ki mechartem oti henna ki limchia shalachani Elokim lifnechem. Okay. So et means time, ata means now. So the ata and now al. So this is do not, right? It's no, but more in a command kind of thing, I guess. Te'atzvu. So ayin tzaddik bet is it's bon is how do I translate that usually? Displease, hurt, pain, grieve. Yeah. Be angry. Yeah. That's bani. That's tzav can be in modern Hebrew. It's angry. Yeah. Va'al yichar be'enechem. So charon af literally means flaring of the nostrils, and both char, yichar, and af have become synonyms, or are synonyms in the Bible for synonyms in the Bible for anger. I guess it could be agitate or to irritate. Be'enechem, in the eyes of all y'all. Ki mechartem, because you sold. Oteimi. Henna. Yeah, here. Henna. Although I almost want to say there. Kim lemichia shalachani Elokim, because for michia, I mean preserve life. How'd they translate it? Yeah, they did it as well. Rashi says to be to you a preserver, and apparently that's from the Targum Yonatan. Of course, there is no Targum Yonatan on the 5 books of Moses. It's actually the Palestinian Targum, which people misattribute to Yonatan. So there's that. Maybe I should contact Chabad and let them know that. Okay. I mean, michia, sustenance, and really in modern Hebrew, I mean, it does come from life, but like in modern Hebrew, it's sustenance, or you can, I mean, a mechaye, yeah, does come from life. Shalachani Elokim, and you know that it is referring to God because it is in the singular, right? Shalachani, sent me, and shiluach is to send, to stretch out. Shiluach yad is to stretch your hand out. A shliach is an emissary, is an agent. Lifnechem, before you, in front of you. Verse 6. Well, I guess I was too late in answering computer, so he's not responding. Um, which I'm sorry about that. Uh, for these 2 years, the famine has been in the land, and there are still 5 years in which there will be neither plowing nor harvesting. For 2 years now, there has been famine in the land, and for the next 5 years, there will be no plowing and reaping. For already 2 years of famine have passed in the midst of the land, and for another 5 years, there will be neither plowing nor harvest. Ki ze shnatayim hara'av bekerev haaretz ve'od 5 shanim asher ein harish vekatzir. Because ki ze, right, for these. Shnatayim, so English has singular and plural. Hebrew has singular, dual, and plural. And so Shana is a year, Shanim is 3 or more years, Shnatayim is 2 years. Hara'av, the famine, Bekerev Haaretz. I mean, Karov means close, but within the land, right? In almost, I would say, in the heartland. But yeah. But Od Chamesh and more, still 5 years, Chamesh Shanim. Asher ein charish v'katzir. So Asher is the pronoun relative. There is not ein. It's the opposite of yesh. There is harish v'katzir, and het aresh shin is to plow. Kotzer, right, is to harvest or to cut, to take in. So harish v'katzir, those are noun forms. Verse 7. And God sent me before you to preserve a posterity, remnant, for you in the earth, and save your lives by a great deliverance. But God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth and to save your lives by a great deliverance, as a great band of survivors. And God sent me before you to make for you a remnant in the land and to preserve it for you for a great deliverance. Vayishlacheni Elokim lifnechem lasum lachem she'erit ba'aretz. I was expecting zikaron, not she'erit, but okay. Ulhachayot lachem lifleta gedola. Okay, so sent, right? Again, the agent, same one we had before. Elokim. In front of you, before you. Lasum lachem. So literally to set all y'all, to put all of you. Preserve, I guess. She'erit. So sha'ar means the rest, right? What is left. She'erit is, I guess, prosperity, remainder, remnant. Ba'aretz, in the land. And usually when we say the land with an article, we're actually talking about the land of Israel. Ulhachayot lachem. So this is the hefil. It's the causative of chaya, right, to live. Lifleta, so pe lamed tet, palit, is a refuge. Leta, an escape, from palat, to escape. Preserve or rescue. Phoenician improper name. So Gedolah, a great, right, large, pleta, and Gedolah is actually bechisaron if you're going to pay attention to that. Verse 8. So now it was not you who sent me here, but God, and he has made me a father to Pharaoh, and lord of all his house, and a ruler throughout all the land of Egypt. So then it was not you who sent me here, but God. He made me father to Pharaoh, lord of his entire household, and ruler of all Egypt. And now you did not send me here, but God, and he made me a father to Pharaoh, a lord over all his household, and a ruler over the entire land of Egypt. And Rashi says a father, a colleague, and a protector. Okay. Va'ata, again now, lo atem shalachtem oti. It's not you who sent me, same root, right? Shalach. Henna, here. Ki ha-Elokim. And you see that this usually we translate as because, but it is obvious here that it's actually a but. God, but rather God, veyesimeni, and it is in the singular, so you know that it is talking about actual God. And this is the call of veyesimeni. I'm gonna try the constructor here. So sin vav mem. I'm Sofit. And they're saying in the Pa'al, the Yasum. Yeah, that's what I thought. But they're saying Yasim. And I am just going to check the Hefil. Yeah, Yasim. So I'm going to have to disagree with them. This is not in the call. It's in the causative. Yeah, and he has caused me to be appointed. That's, yeah. This is not in the call, so I'm going to disagree with their morphology as they have it. And they might just not have consecutive imperfects like with the actual binyan, which would be sad but possible. La'av, as a father, for a father. And av, I mean, in Hebrew, the chief judge is of a rabbinic court is called Av Beit Din. So it's not, you know how in English we'll say husband when we mean protector? And so, yeah. Let Pharaoh to Pharaoh, ul adon, and this is the word adon, which we oftentimes use to refer to God instead of the Tetragrammaton. But this is the actual word Adon, written b'miloi, as a master, as a lord. L'chol beito, to all of his house. Umoshel, and this is the participle, the present tense of memshala, right? To govern, to rule. Malchutcha malchut olamim, umemshaltecha lechol dar vador. We also say bechol mashallah, right? In all rulership, but bechol eretz Mitzrayim, in all of the land of Egypt. Verse 9. Hurry and go up to my father and say to him, thus says your son Joseph, God has made me Lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, do not tarry. Now hurry back to my father and say to him, this is what your son Joseph says. God has made me Lord of all Egypt. Come down to me, don't delay. Hasten and go up to my father and say to him, so said your son Joseph, God has made me a lord over all the Egyptians. Come down to me, do not tarry. Maharu va'alu el avi ve'amartem alav ko amar bincha Yosef Samani Elokim la'adon lachol Mitzrayim reda elai al ta'amod. So maher is to hurry, and this is the command form. Aliyah, right, is to go up. And like I said, leaving Egypt is always called an aliyah. Entering Israel is always called an aliyah, and the opposite for going down. El avi, to my father, ve'amartem, and you all y'all should say Allah to him, ko amar, thus said bincha, your son Joseph. Samani Elokim, right? So God has set me. This is lasum to, and here it is in the call. It's in the simple form. La'adon, as a lord, lechol Mitzrayim, to all of Egypt. Reda, and again, this is imperative. I mean, it could have been red. There is that hey there, which you might argue is the cohortative, I guess. Eli, to me, al ta'amod. And here, amod, it means to stand, and it's not in the command form, it's in the future, right? So it's less of a command, right? Verse 10. You shall dwell in the land of Goshen, and you shall be near to me, you and your children, your children's children, your flocks and your herds, and all that you have. You shall live in the region of Goshen and be near me, you, your children and grandchildren, your flocks and herds, and all you have. And you shall dwell in the land of Goshen, and you shall be near to me, you and your children and your grandchildren, and your flocks and your cattle, and all that is yours. Ve'yashavta be'eretz Goshen, ve'haita karov elai ata uvanecha uvnei avanecha vetzoncha uvakarcha v'chol asher lach. So, Yeshuv is to settle, right? You shall settle in the land of Goshen. It's in the construct form. V'haita karov alai. V'haita, and you, and it's in singular you. You shall be close to me. You and your children, your sons, uvenei vanecha, and your grandchildren, right? The sons of your sons. Vetzoncha uvakarcha. So tzon and bakar. Tzon usually would refer to small animals like sheep and goats, and bakar would refer to large animals, cattle mostly. And all that is yours in the singular, and the reason why it changes from lacha, which is the masculine, which is the normal masculine. I mean, you can certainly try to darshan this, but is the cantillation marks, and it's the end of the sentence. Okay, 11. There I will provide for you, lest you and your household and all that you have come to poverty, for there are still 5 years of famine. I will provide for you there, because 5 years of famine are still to come. Otherwise, you and your household and all who belong to you will become destitute. And I will sustain you there, for there are still 5 years of famine, lest you become impoverished, you and your household, and all that is yours. V'chilkalti otcha sham ki od 5 shanim ra'av pen tivaresh. Ata uveitecha v'chol asher lach. And Rashi comments on tivaresh. Let's take a look at what he says. Pen tivaresh. Onkelos renders it dalma tit maskan, and that is to become poor. Is a similar, an expression similar to impoverish morish, in 1 Samuel 2:7. Same root, yeah, I guess. Although, let's start from the beginning. So kalkal, right? This is a verb pilpel, and it is a rare, somewhat rare stem. If you want to, the pilpel is a rare stem formation that is similar to the pl and expresses the same range of meanings. You drop the second radical and repeat the first and third, so there's actually 4. And many of the occurrences are like here, cool, right? To kilkel is to sustain. Kalkala in certainly in modern and even rabbinic Hebrew is usually about food, sustenance, like that. So v'chilkalti otcha, right? Direct object marker, and again in the singular. So he's talking to his father. Sham there, ki od 5 shanim ra'av, because there's a 5 more years of famine. Pen is pretty much always translated lest, and I think that's basically the Hebrew word for it. I mean the English word for it. Tivaresh. Let's see what the concordance has to say about Yarash. Yeah, that's what I thought too. that this is related to the root to take possession and inherit, but also dispossess. And I think that's that's what's going on here. Not that Rashi disagrees, but yeah. Ata uvetecha v'chol asher lach, you and your house and all that is yours. Again, similar to the last time, switching because of where it is in the sentence. 12. And behold, your eyes and the eyes of my brother Benjamin see that it is my mouth that speaks to you. You can see for yourselves, and so can my brother Benjamin, that it is really I who am speaking to you. And behold, your eyes see, as well as the eyes of my brother Benjamin, that it is my mouth speaking to you. And Rashi is bringing up things from the Talmud. Vehine einechem ro'ot ve'einei achi Binyamin, sorry, ki fi hamedaber alechem. So hine, behold, is how I usually translate it. Your eyes see, and it's in the feminine. I'm not sure why. I guess ayin can be both sometimes. Usually, any body part that comes in pairs is actually feminine. Einayim ro'ot. Yeah, yadayim, oznayim, ozen shomeat. Yeah. See, it's in the present tense, and it is written b'milui, kind of. And the eyes of my brother Benjamin. That, right, because that my mouth is what is speaking to you. Hamedaber. The is kind of implied there to you, to all y'all. Let's see if he says the eyes of my thing. He compared them all, saying, just as I harbor no hatred against my brother Benjamin, I do not have any hatred against you. And that's from the Talmud Megillah 16b. Verse 13. So you shall tell my father of all my glory in Egypt and all that you have seen, and you shall hurry and bring my father down here. Tell my father about all the honor accorded me in Egypt and about everything you have seen, and bring my father down here quickly. And you shall tell my father of all my honor in Egypt and all that you have seen, and you shall hasten and bring my father down here. Vehigatetem la'avi et kol kevodi b'mitzrayim ve'et kol asher re'item umihartem vehoradetem et avi henna. Dominic, what is the Rashi there? Impoverish makes you rich? No. Okay. So lahagid, right, is to proclaim. It's to make reach, to like deliver a message to my father. all of my kavod, and anane kavod usually gets translated as the um, clouds of glory. I like to translate kaved in some sort of heaviness, heft, gravitas, um, because kaved does mean heavy. Um, for example, when Moses says that he is heavy of mouth, kaved peh, or he stutters, right? So, but all my glory, kavodi, in Egypt, ve'et kol asher ra'item, and everything that you guys saw. Um, yeah, that's ra'item. Mihartem, and you shall make haste again. This is hurry, mahar. We just had it. Vehoraditem, right? So this is the causative of laredet, or is it yered? Let's see what it says. Yeah, they say yarad. You could also argue that it's rish dalad hey. I mean, there's the two root thing going on here. Et avi henna, my father here. Okay. Verse 14. Then he fell on his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept on his neck. Then he threw his arms around his brother Benjamin and wept, and Benjamin embraced him, weeping. And he fell on his brother Benjamin's neck and wept, and Benjamin wept on his neck. Vayipol al tzavarei Binyamin, and because of where it is, it's changing from Binyamin to Binyamin. Same name, but the bet does change to a vet, and in Hebrew, even in names. Achiv veyevk uvinyamin baha al tzavarav. So, and he fell, vayipol, and he fell on the neck, tzavar, right? And it's in the plural, it's in the construct form with Binyamin, Benjamin, Achiv, his brother, and he wept, right? Bechia, like we've had already. Uvinyamin bacha, right? And Benjamin wept. Al Tzavarav, on his shoulders, neck, right? Does Tzavar actually mean? Back of neck, from an unused word. Yeah. Intensively from tsur, in the sense of binding. Yeah. And there's all kinds of drashas on Egypt and the neck, and they're interesting stuff if you're interested. But yeah. Okay. 15. Moreover, he kissed all his brothers and wept over them, and after that his brothers talked with him. And he kissed all his brothers and wept over them. Afterward, his brothers talked with him. And he kissed all his brothers and wept over them. And afterwards, his brothers spoke with him. Vayinashek lechol echav vayevk alechem va'acharei chen divru echav ito. So, Neshek is kiss. It can also refer to being armed with armaments. But in context, it's obviously he kissed his brothers. And he wept over them, aleichem, regarding them, with them. And afterwards, v'acharechen, dibru echav ito, and people who pay attention know that Amar is considered a more soft kind of discussion, whereas diber is considered a more intensive and harsh sort of discussion, which might be relevant here. 16. Now the report of it was heard in Pharaoh's house, saying, Joseph's brothers have come. So it pleased Pharaoh and his servants well. When the news reached Pharaoh's palace that Joseph's brothers had come, Pharaoh and all his officials were pleased. And the voice was heard in Pharaoh's house, saying, Joseph's brothers have come, and it pleased Pharaoh and his servants. V'hakol nishma beit paro le'emor ba'u achei Yosef v'yitav be'enei paro uve'enei avadav. So hakol nishma, right? This literally, it's the voice was heard, but really it's saying that the report was spread, right? Beit Paro, in the house of Pharaoh, saying, Ba'u achei Yosef, the brothers of Joseph have come, ve'yitav be'enei Pharaoh, and it was good in the eyes of Pharaoh. The root here is definitely tov, good, right? Yetev, beautiful, I guess. Tov is definitely there. Uve'enei avadav, and in the eyes of his literally slaves, but servants. 17. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, say to your brothers, do this, load your animals and depart, and go to the land of Canaan. Pharaoh said to Joseph, tell your brothers, do this, load your animals and return to the land of Canaan. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, tell your brothers, do this, load up your beasts and go, enter the land of Canaan. Vayomer Paro el Yosef, emor el achecha, zot asu, ta'anu et be'irchem, okay, ulechu bo artsa Canaan. Okay, so Pharaoh says to Joseph, say, this is the command form of say, el achecha, to your brothers, zot asu, do this, ta'anu, and I think we had similar words, although these are not common words of saying things like this. Oh, it's the only time it shows up, load in this way, laid. Really? It's the only time? Well, yeah, apparently. So, tet ayin nun. Aramaic, carry, also load. Et be'irchem, and be'ir is another word I'm not very familiar with. Beast, cattle from Ba'ar. How many times does it show up? 6 times in the Bible from Ba'ar. Brutish, to burn, consume. Oh, Boer Esh. Yeah, to burn. So why? Like Boer Esh in modern Hebrew means to light a fire. 95 times it shows up. To be brutish, take away, burn, cause to eat up, feed, heat, kindle, a primitive root, to kindle, consume by fire or by eating. Also as a denominative from Ba'ar, to be brutish. Huh. Okay. Be'irchem. Okay. Reminds me of cars you have to put lots of gas in. Ulechu, and depart or go, right? This is the command form of holech, which is to walk or to go. Bo'u, go, really, I mean, bo'u is come, but artsa kanan. The hay at the end is the directional hay towards the land of Canaan. If I were the type of person to do critical analysis, I would find that particular sentence interesting. Okay, verse 18. Bring your father and your households and come to me. I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you will eat the fat, choicest produce of the land. And bring your father and your families back to me. I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you can enjoy the fat of the land. And take your father and your households and come to me, and I will give you the best of the land of Egypt, and you will eat the fat of the land. Ukachu et avichem ve'et batechem uvou elai ve'etna lachem et tuv eretz Mitzrayim ve'ichlu et chelev haaretz. So, take your father, bring your father. Lakachat is to really to grab, to take. The father of all y'all's and your houses, and come to me, right? Vo alav. Ve'etna, and I shall give. Latet is to give or to set. To you the best of the land, tuv eretz Mitzrayim. So it's a construct chain of tuv, right? The best or the goodness of the land of Egypt. Ve'ichlu, and you will consume. Chelev can be fat. Halav is milk. So, right. Yeah, the fat of the land, haaretz of the land. Verse 19. Now you are commanded to do this. Take carts out of the land of Egypt for your little ones and your wives. Bring your father and come. You are also directed to tell them, do this. Take some carts from Egypt for your children and your wives, and get your father and come. And you, Joseph, have been commanded to tell them this. Do this. Take yourselves wagons agalot, from the land of Egypt for your young children and for your wives, and you shall carry your father and come. So let's see the Hebrew. Va'ata tsuvita. Interesting. Tsuvita. Zot. Asu kehu lachem me'eretz Mitzrayim agalot letapchem ulneshechem ulineshechem velishechem. Sorry. Unsatem et avichem uvatem. So you have been commanded, right? So pual, we don't see that very often. We see nifal a lot more than pual. So if you remember the candelabra, right? Kal has the passive nifal. PL, right, which is the intensive, has the passive of pual, of it's the intensive passive. You have been commanded. Tsuvita, you have been commanded. Zot, this. Asu, Zot asu, do this. All y'all do this. So he tells Joseph, right? Yeah, it's obvious that he's commanding Joseph to tell them to do this. Kehu lachem me'eretz Mitzrayim agalot, and that's kind of funny because there's this whole midrash. It's a famous midrash that he sent agalot. He sent carts because to remind Yaakov of certain things, but it's Pharaoh who's doing it, which is interesting. And yes, carts. There's all kinds of other level symbolism you could be using there. Okay. So take for yourselves from the land of Egypt agalot. Letapchem. So taf are toddlers, children from tafaf. To trip, take small, quick steps. Yeah. Toddlers. And to your literally women, but your wives. Unsatem, and you shall raise up. Nasa, to lift, carry, take. Your father, uvatem, and you shall come. Okay, 20. Also, do not be concerned about your goods, for the best of all the land of Egypt is yours. Never mind about your belongings, because the best of all Egypt will be yours. And let your eye not be concerned about your utensils, for the best of all the land of Egypt is yours. Ve'einchem al tochos al klechem, sorry, ki tuv kol eretz Mitzrayim lachem hu. So, and your eyes should not lachus, to look, to have pity. Look upon with compassion, to pity. Like we say, chas v'shalom, from the same as whom? Really? 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 I don't think so. I don't know how they got that. other than they look alike. Oh, come on. Um, Al klechem, on your utensils. A kli is a utensil, but yeah, klechem. Because the best, like we had before, it is yours. Lachem hu, and the pronoun is being used as the verb to be, as in the present tense, as it is sometimes. 21. Then the sons of Israel did so, and Joseph gave them carts, wagons, according to the command of Pharaoh, and he gave them provisions for the journey. So the sons of Israel did this. Joseph gave them carts as Pharaoh had commanded, and he also gave them provisions for their journey. And the sons of Israel did so, and and Joseph gave them wagons by Pharaoh's order, and he gave them provisions for the way. ויעשו כן בני ישראל, וייתן להם יוסף עגלות על פי פרעה, וייתן להם צידה לדרך. So, and they did so, chen, right? So, Bnei Israel, vayiten lahem, and gave to them, Joseph, agalot, carts or wagons, al pi pharaoh, literally on the mouth of, but according to the command of Pharaoh. Vayiten lahem tzeda, and he gave them tzeda. Tzeda is literally things that are hunted. Latzed is to hunt. Latzud, sorry, I think. Tzeda, provision, food from tzayid, sorry. I mean, in modern Hebrew, tzayid is definitely to hunt. Did they? Yeah, so they split things up sometimes for no good reason, and it makes me wonder why. Like, dude. Anyway, Lot Darech, for the road, and Derech turns into Darech because of where it is in the sentence. Okay. Verse 22. He gave to all of them, to each man, changes of garments, but to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of garments. To each of them he gave new clothing, but to Benjamin he gave 300 shekels. That is about 7.5 pounds, or about 3.5 kilograms, of silver and 5 sets of clothes. And to he gave them all, each one, several changes of clothes, and to Benjamin he gave 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of clothes. Lechulam natan leish chalifot smalot, ולבנימין נתן 300 כסף ו5 חליפות שמלות. Okay, so for all of them, he set or gave. Laish, to each of them. That's what the article there means. Laish, to each man. Chalifot, so Khalaf means to change. A khalifa is also, like, I believe in modern Hebrew, a suit. But smalot, a simla, is a garment, a dress in modern Hebrew. So pantsuits. No, I'm joking. Khalifot, smalot, right? Changes of clothes or suits of clothing, I guess, maybe a change, right? Chalaf can be hardship. Ulavin and to Benjamin Natan shlosh meot kesef, he gave 300 silver. Doesn't say what of silver. They're assuming shekel. So v'chamesh chalifot smalot, and 5, however you want to translate chalifot smalot, and so each of them he gave plural, and I mean it's not the dual, so like guess you would say 3. He gave them 3, and he gave Benjamin 5, I guess. Let's see what Rashi says, if Rashi comments on, but it's at least, yeah, that's why they have several there. There's no Rashi here. I guess you could just translate it as changes of garments, like they did here. Yeah, I don't like, this is the NIV on the right. I don't like how they translated new clothing and sets of clothes. It does not retain the Hebrew. Okay, 23. And to his father he sent the following: 10 he-donkeys carrying of the best of Egypt, and 10 she-donkeys carrying grain, bread, and other food for his father for the way. I did not go to the next one. Ula'aviv shalach kazot 10 chamorim nos'im mituv Mitzrayim ve'eser atonot nos'ot var Vallechem, umazon la'aviv ladarech. So, and to his father he sent, right, shalach, like we had before, kizot, like this, in this manner, 10 chamorim, and a chamor is a masculine aton, right, is a female donkey. And yeah, if you're paying attention to chisaron and milui, this whole chapter has kind of been kind of interesting. I assume that the Kabbalists have all manner of things to say about these chapters. Like this, 10 chamorim, so 10 male donkeys, nos'im, right, loaded with carrying the good of Egypt, mituv Mitzrayim, ve'eser atonot, and 10 female donkeys, nos'ot bar, and bar can mean purity, but a borer is to winnow grain, so this is winnowed grain, right? Pure grain, I guess. Va'lechem, and bread. Mazon, and food. Yeah, mazon is food. I mean, how else? So provisions, maybe. Zona can mean both a harlot and a innkeeper, like Rahav, and that's the same root right there, lazun, to provide for. La'aviv laderech, for his father, for the way, the journey, the route. 24. So he sent his brothers away, and they departed, and he said to them, see that you do not become troubled along the way. Then he sent his brothers away, and as they were leaving, he said to them, don't quarrel on the way. And he sent off his brothers, and they went, and he said to them, do not quarrel all on the way. And Rashi has his explanation there. But Vayishlach et Echav Vayalchu Vayomer Alehem Al Tirgezu Baderech. So he sent his brothers, and they went, and he said to them, do not regez, and Resh Gimel Zayin usually is to become angry, to be agitated, quiver, quake, be excited. Disquiet, provoke wrath, trembling disease. Okay. Yeah. Regez can be wrath, is translated as wrath. And this is a word that's used a lot. A primitive root to quiver with any violent emotion, especially anger or fear. Be wroth. Okay. Bat derech, on the way. Verse 25. Then he went up out of Egypt and came to the land of Canaan, to Jacob their father. So they went up out of Egypt and came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan. So they went up from Egypt and they came to the land of Canaan to their father Jacob. Vaya'alu mimitzrayim vayavohu eretz Canaan el Yaakov avihem. So they went up from Egypt and they came to the land of Canaan, to Yaakov, their father. Pretty simple stuff. We've had these words just now. 26. And they told him, saying, Joseph is still alive, and there are many, many congregations named Od Yosef Chai, including one I used to pray at for a very long time. And there are all manners of prayer books called Od Yosef Chai, and all kinds of things called Od Yosef Chai. So, yeah. They told him Joseph is still alive. In fact, he is ruler of. I skipped the thing. And he is a governor over all the land of Egypt. And Jacob's heart stood still because he did not believe them. They told him, Joseph is still alive. In fact, he is a ruler of all Egypt. Jacob was stunned. He did not believe them. And they told him Joseph is still living, and they told him that he ruled over the entire land of Egypt, and his heart changed, for he did not believe them. Vayagidu lo le'emor od Yosef Chai, v'chi hu moshel bechol eretz Mitzrayim, vayagaf libo, ki lo he'emin lahem. So Yagid, like we said before, to reach, right, to proclaim to him, Od Yosef Chai, still Joseph lives, right? V'chi, and that, and he is usually because, but it's one of those conjunctions. Hu Moshel, right? He is the governor, the Moshel we spoke about recently. Bechol Eretz Mitzrayim, on all the land of Egypt. And the word that is different here is yagaf, to grow numb, a primitive root. It is used 4 times in the Bible. Arabic, grow cool. Syriac, become cold. Fail, become weak, inefficient. Late Hebrew, fail, vanish. Syriac, be cold. Cease, be helpless. Yeah. Pug, they're saying, is the root. Pei, vav, gimel. Vayafog. Vayafog? Not sure. Actually, what I could do is look up Genesis 45. 6. Yeah, Vayagof. It is a kamatz katan. Libo. Sorry, Vayafog. Sorry. So their transliteration here is actually wrong. Okay. Libo, his heart. Because lo he'emin, right? This is the he-fil, the causative of amen, emunah, faith, to believe, lahem. 27. But when they told him all the words which Joseph had said to them, and when he saw the carts which Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob, their father, revived. But when they told him everything Joseph had said to them, and when he saw the carts Joseph had sent to carry him back, the spirit of their father Jacob revived. And they told him all of Joseph's words that he had said to them, and he saw the wagons that Joseph had sent to carry him, and the spirit of their father Jacob was revived. And so Rashi both explains my question. So he gave them a sign in what topic he was engaged when he was separated from him. That is the section dealing with the Egla Arufa, right? Agalot and Egla Arufa, the heifer that's beheaded, right? This is from the Genesis Rabbah, and this is what Scripture says. And he saw the wagons that Joseph had sent, and it does not say that Pharaoh had sent. But I don't understand, because, he doesn't ask my question. I should probably look up the Meforshim on Rashi there, because, or look up Genesis Rabbah, but I'm not going to do that because I'm too lazy for that. V'yidabru alav et kol divrei Yosef asher diber aleihem, v'yar et ha'agalot asher shalach Yosef laset oto, v'techi ruach Yaakov avihem. And that's why Rashi says Ruach HaKodesh, because it says Ruach. So Vaidaber, right? It uses the daber, but to them all the words of Joseph that he spoke. Alehem, and yes, I mean the alliteration is poetic in the Hebrew. Vayar et hagalot, and he saw the carts which Yosef sent. Lasit oto, to carry him, to lift him up. Vatechi ruach Yaakov, and literally was alive, became alive, was revived. The Ruach of Yaakov, the spirit of Yaakov, their father. Okay. 28. This is the last verse. Then Israel said, "It is enough. Joseph, my son, is still alive. I will go and see him before I die." And Israel said, "I am convinced my son Joseph is still alive. I will go and see him before I die." And Israel said, "Enough. My son Joseph is still alive. I will go and see him before I die." Vayomer Israel Rav Od Yosef beni Chai Alcha Ve'erenu Beterem Amut. So Israel, it changed from Jacob to Israel. Rav, literally lots, right? So ribui is many, much. So I'm kind of surprised that they're all saying enough, much, many, great. Yeah, I wouldn't translate it enough, because that would be like die, dalad yud. But okay, Od Yosef beni Chai, and basically the same as we had before. Elcha, I will go, and the hey is the cohortative at the end. Ve'erenu, and I will see him. Beterem, terem is before, right? I mean, it shows up. Not yet ear before that. And how many times does it show up in the Bible? 56 occurrences, so a lot. Amut, I will die, in the imperfect. And that was this chapter. I am going to hang around for another 20 minutes or so. Before I forget, Safania 3:9. Ki az epoch el amim safa bera likro chulam beshem havaya leovdo shchem echad. Thus I will turn over for the people a pure language, so that they may all call in the name of the Tetragrammaton, leovdo, to serve him, shchem echad, with one shoulder, with one accord. It's going to be sad when we're done with Genesis. No, it's not going to be sad. It's going to be happy, because making a siyum is actually, we make parties in Judaism when we do any significant amount, complete any significant chunk of learning. I did want to ask the few people who actually watch this. Not a lot of people watch these streams. Many more people watch my other streams. I want to make as good of a use of the time as I can, especially since we are going to go into open enrollment, and I will no longer be the dilettante that I have been until now, having vast amounts of time to spend on this channel. I also don't know how helpful this format is for learning Hebrew, because if you've been paying attention, there there's quite a few chapters, and I don't know how useful this is being to people. So please, if you do listen to these, you watch these, leave a comment, let me know. What I have considered doing is replacing this with some sort of Bible study where we do discuss the Hebrew, or some sort of thing. Tanakh Talk recently started classes on biblical Hebrew, and while they are not perfect, they're actually okay. If you want to do more of the textual method and not Aleph with Beth, I don't want to be making inferior quality things of what other people are. And so feedback is appreciated. You are all welcome on to my Discord server to discuss this further. I kind of discussed this at the end of my live stream earlier today with Jason Almondtree. And we'll see what we do. I might make it into some sort of Bible study with Jason. And actually, since I've been engaging the Muslim YouTube verse a bit more, I might actually see if I can invite any of the Muslim YouTubers so that we can have some sort of Bible study with a Jew, a Christian, and a Muslim, so that we can tell the joke over and over again. But possibly something like that might be on its own channel because people might not feel comfortable having me be in control of it. I'll see. I am going to invite people and see if they are willing to regularly do this. I think it would be useful to have a Christian, a Jew, and a Muslim going through various books of the Bible, and we might do a book like, I don't know, Proverbs, which is more rich in theology than most of the Bible is. If you have comments, please let me know. I am also going to solicit comments from people elsewhere. Okay. I'm going to hang around at least for another 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so. If anybody has questions or comments or whatever, let me know. Otherwise, I am just going to hang around here. what kind of format did you have in mind for Bible study? I'm not sure. I want to see what Jason was thinking. I am considering just leaving a StreamYard. So I was thinking 2 hours and leaving a StreamYard link up publicly so that anybody who wanted to join could in the video chat. I think I'm going to demand that people um, have their cameras on though, and we're going to and possibly like I don't know, maybe do chapters, maybe see if people if there are interesting topics, see who's interested, and then we will take it from there. Yeah. Okay, people, bye.